You're at
So we
55, so you
doubled.
pretty much doubled the business in the span of
100.
30 days.
I mean, I think you should 5x your prices. Like your stuff has massively kind of contributed to really refining that.
So Callum, hello my friend. How you doing today?
Hey Cameron, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm very, very good. I guess for the people that are watching, let's just kick it off with who you are, what you do, what kind of agency you run. Just like a high-level overview as to where you're at now, and then we can reverse engineer from where you was a couple of months ago.
Yeah, 100%. So we're in the same niche. I run a net med spa agency, the typical kind of growth partner model. So we do advertising, we have an appointment setting team, and we do kind of coaching and consulting inside the clinics. Right now, last month we just hit 110,000. Half of that was backend, half of that was new cash. But yeah, overall growing pretty fast.
Boom. So first 100k month in August.
Correct.
That's what we like to hear. So if we go back, because what was you doing if you're comfortable with sharing numbers? Say July time, because obviously we had the mastermind at the start of August for the 5 days. That was
Yeah.
the first mastermind you went to. We'll get into that shortly. Give us a
Yeah.
rundown of when did you join the program? Was it like 3, 4, 5 months ago? Do you remember?
Yes, I think it was 4, 5 months ago in March. Yeah, I think that's 5 months. So I
Yeah.
joined in March. I remember it was kind of about my birthday, around my birthday time, which is March the 7th. So I think that's kind of roughly when I joined, pretty early for the program.
So give us a rundown of March time when you joined. Where was you at revenue wise? And more importantly, what were the biggest constraints that you felt was stopping you from growing?
100%. So I was doing 25K. That was so February, we just ended February at like 20K. So you could say like at that time I was doing 20,000. I think the biggest constraint back then, I would say it was hiring, but also just overall systems and operations. I remember in January I started running ads and I started kind of closing and I kind of learned that skill set. So that really helped me. And I think like in terms of client acquisition, I had something that it was already working, but also kind of course, like your stuff has massively kind of contributed to really refining that and making sure that's kind of even better. And now also, and again, I would say that's probably the biggest thing I was kind of facing also kind of back at that time is just making sure number one, the average retainer amount is at 2K, if not 2.5K. I remember when we kind of had our onboarding call, it was at like 1.4 and I felt so fucking embarrassed. I'm like, holy fucking shit, that's not right. So I think really just again pulling all levers there too to make sure that the price point is going up, but then also making sure that I'm hiring the right people and ultimately then also kind of pretty soon, a month after or 1.5 months after, hiring my first CSM. That has been really important for the part.
Yeah. So getting yourself out of client success, how recently did you hire that CSM? Was it in the last few months?
I mean, it was exactly 3 months ago,
Yeah.
probably about
So
that. Yeah.
you're no longer involved in client management in terms of communication, or is there just a few clients that you communicate with every now and again?
I still like I'd say there are some like very annoying clients. We all have them.
Yeah.
They still keep on communicating with you even though you've already handed them off to somebody else. So I'm still I'm actually I'm trying to be involved to somewhat degree in certain situations too. And one thing I still got to work on with her, my client success manager, is really making sure that she's driving more upsells. So I'm trying to also kind of support her in that. But I'm pretty much removed. Like I don't check the Slack channels with clients anymore. I'm just kind of staying out of that. And then I'm just right now, I I'd say I'm pretty much removed completely, apart from like two, three clients.
And I think one of the things that nobody really talks about is like, the hiring, the team, the operations. Like client acquisition is pretty self-explanatory, right? You probably just scaled your ad
Yeah.
spend and got in a
Yeah.
fucking closer, which we can get into shortly. What do you think was the key hire or key hires that you made that allowed you to break through six figures a month in the last 30 days or so?
CSM 100%. And then I think like I remember like and like right now again we're growing very fast. So it wasn't like a steady growth, I guess. And due to that, like last month we had way less team members. So it wasn't like we had a media buyer, we just had a tech person join who's an absolute wizard, who right now I would say is probably the most valuable team member in the team. I had an EA join last month. So I'd say like a lot of those kind of positions, but I'd say by far, again, the most, I guess, difficult position to hire for and nail in, but also the most valuable position I hired for is definitely client success manager. And I would say now last month to a closer, that has been huge for me.
Yeah.
I'm,
I
I'm
remember at the
happy.
master.
I'm happy
Got
how things are going.
sick. I remember at the mastermind, I saw you taking fucking interviews through some of the
Yeah.
talks. Was that when you ramped up the closer initially, when you got them on the team?
Yeah, so I remember, and for anybody who's watching this, maybe also that's already in the program. If you go to the mastermind videos and you look at Pasha's talk, bro, he called me out in front of everybody, and I knew like, hey, I need to have a closer, I need to find a closer, and I tried hiring and training a setter slash closer for 2, 3 weeks, but they always churned like literally on day one, day three. They didn't even really start. It was just to a certain degree not the right person in the first place. And I think I could have also done a lot of things better, but I struggled finding somebody for that position. And then I remember on that day of the presentation of Pasha, which was on Monday, I thought to myself this more so, or I realized or came to the realization that me not like having time to do enough sales, me having to hire a closer, it was really just a limiting belief. And I thought it was very difficult. And I remember on the exact same day, on the evening, I hired two sales reps. Like I just pulled all levers. I texted all my friends like, "Hey, I'll pay you 2K if you get me a good closer." And then I got somebody that was really, really solid who now, after just 1.5 weeks of closing, is closing at 30% with 80% cash up front. So he's been helping a lot.
It's funny because sometimes you need to be reminded more than you need to be taught. Because that was like, I think that was one of the core takeaways for a lot of people at the mastermind, where it was like, I already know what I need to do. I just need
Mm.
to pull my finger out my arse and act with speed because I'm not moving fast enough. And what did you, so July, because July to August, you had a big revenue jump, right? What was you at in
Yeah,
July time?
55.
You were at
So we
55. So you
doubled.
pretty much doubled the business in the span of
100.
30 days.
I wouldn't even say 30 days because I remember the first week of August was shit. Like we did like 10K in cash, like total. And I was feeling that down, bro. And then we just crushed. For the next 20 days, we did 5K days every single day, and that's how we hit
Yeah.
110.
I saw you texted me like a week after the mastermind. You were like, I did 50K this week.
Yeah, it was
Crazy.
insane.
So I'm curious to know, because for other people, and even me too, I'm curious to know what you feel like changed in that time period for you to go from like you were doing 55K, you've built an agency in the right way, you've built something sustainable, you've got MRR coming
Mm,
in, churn isn't shit,
mm.
most people have a churn and burn. I'm curious to know from July or like the end of the mastermind to all the way through August, what do you think was the biggest levers that you pulled to pretty much double the business in that time period?
I mean, it's definitely just scale ad spend, and you saw me kind of do the share the sauce kind of meeting or presentation on the A/B split close and kind of how I do my closing, and like I will say like this is huge because again, on one hand, like you're if you have some sort of performance model, like you can just get paid so much more money, but then also having that alternative of a PIF, like I think it's a very good way of not going like all in on piffs and just piff your way through or to 100K, but also having that back end kind of a bone. So I think that's really, really important. And it's been also something that has built up over time. It's not that cool. The exact day after I came home of the mastermind, like suddenly everything changed. It was just more so repeating successful actions, which is, I know, something you like to say. And
Yeah.
scaling ad spend, just having the fucking courage and just, bro, just do it. Scale,
Yeah, sometimes you got
scale
to throw your
ads.
balls on the table, right? And then
Yeah.
you do it, and it pays its dividends most of the time. Usually, you're just in your head about worst case scenario when worst case scenario isn't even bad.
And I want to add something there too, which is one of my limiting beliefs back then was not, oh, I cannot scale ad spend, but more so, hey, the systems, the team, we're not at that level yet. And I have to admit, like, we have a couple of things breaking right now just because, like, we've got 20 clients that are being onboarded at the same time, and A2P is
Yeah,
causing a huge nightmare. So, like, I'm not saying everything is perfect, like, and I think it's just a sacrifice that you got to take if cracks will get bigger over time with size, and to a certain degree it's something you got to accept. But I feel like, hey, again, once you've hit that 110K mark, like you've now got way more resources, and because you've already got that money, you're going to find a way to make it work in some sort of way. So I think that's an
yeah,
important switch I also had personally, which is I set myself like baby steps as a goal. Like I remember like when I did 50, my goal was, okay, next month I'll do 50, 60. And then next month I'll do like 65. Like I was just like so like step by step, which again is more so the sustainable route, and it's not wrong. But if you really want to, you can go a whole lot faster if you just have the courage to push through.
Absolutely. And it's like you're still really going through the same level of pain at each level. And as you mentioned,
100%.
like when you scale, naturally things are going to break. You're going to have to fix them. But when you go aggressive, you can at least patch those holes way quicker and you get to your goals way quicker too, which is as a result, you've got to where you are now. And then I'm sure in the next coming months, you're going to get even further than that, of course. So coming back to, I want to get into where you want to go now, what the biggest constraint is, what you're focusing on your time and attention now, which I'm sure is fixing some of the systems that may have broke as you scaled aggressively. You've been in a number of programs previously. I'm curious to know, just in your own words, how have you found the program? What do you think the biggest or most beneficial thing has been that has allowed you to help you grow?
For me, it goes back down to, or comes back down to hiring. And I would overall just say like you can learn everything yourself. And I think everybody can
Yeah.
learn everything yourself. And that's how I like did most of kind of, I guess, my previous years, or how I kind of behove. But the biggest thing here also with this program is, and I remember that was one of the main things I wanted to get from it when I got into it in the beginning too, is just you're gonna get everything that works as of right now, and you're just gonna be able to save so many times. And the systems that also you've kind of, I guess, implemented in your own agency, and most of that which is now also implemented in our agency, is like we would have been able to build that, but it would have taken us a year or two, and we're just able to kind of shorten that year or two into like 1 or 2 months. And this is also a key thing that I really took away from the mastermind, which is people that are ahead of you, they don't necessarily do different stuff, but they just massively value time more. And I think that has been like a huge thing for me. It's like, again, and it brings me back to the story of like, I remember Pasha kind of calling me out in front of everybody. And I realized like, fuck, those are just excuses. And on the exact same day, I went out there and I had two people that I hired for the sales positions. And I think just having that like speed is such a huge advantage. And I think that's like also right now I'm also in a position where, hey, even if it's a huge price tag, I'm not going to think two or three times about it, because so or so like I'm the person who's going to decide on whether it's going to work out or not. I don't think it comes down to the program. I mean, of course it does to a certain degree, but to answer your question a bit more precisely without going on to tangent, by far the biggest thing for me has just been all the hiring templates, all the questions to ask, really making sure people like you're hiring the right people. Like alone, all the hiring directly on the CSM position, that shit alone, I would have failed 1,000 times over, bro. So I would have died, bro. It would have been
I
crazy.
did. I had to
Yeah.
rehire my client success team 4 times, but it comes back to, and this is a complete tangent, but you just simply don't know what you don't know. And sometimes the hardest things that happen are for a really good reason. Like when I got fucked over by my CSMs 4 or 5 times, I was like, my world is crumbling down. But if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have been able to prevent so many other people from having that same mistake, in which you already had the resources to be able to do so, right? And there is no better feeling. Like, I don't really know any agency owner that truly enjoys being slammed with check-in calls every day. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Like, getting out of that shit is incredible. Then you do it with closing, and then you wake up and you see a closer has made you money while you sleep. That's another insane feeling.
Happening every day now, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. And you tied back to this as well, like not thinking twice about making an investment in the business in time. Obviously, when you came to the program, it was a big investment. Like
Yeah.
at that time, and for a lot of people that come in, it's a 5-figure investment. It's not fucking cheap. I'm curious to know what was going through your mind when you first jumped in. Like, why did you even make the decision to want to join in the first place? Was it just simply already done what I want to do? I'll just follow the path to success, or was there something else going on?
I think it's definitely part of like, hey, I already saw your YouTube. And again, like one thing I've massively learned, and I think is really, really important, is just, hey, if you want to go somewhere, just look at who's already there, and then just if they give you advice, just fucking do it, bro. Even if you think it's stupid, just do it. And I think that's also a part or one of the reasons I'm relatively successful within this program, also in comparison to some other people, because I don't think twice. I just copy what you're doing, and then you can still build off the skeleton and add further stuff. And we're doing the
Yeah.
same thing with pretty much everything that you've got also with our end. We build it, but then we still change it up, try to make it better, and so on and so forth. But then also just
Yep.
again, I was in a situation where I just left like an old program, and they kind of taught me how to do ads and how to sell, which they have massively helped me out without the question. But it got to a point where it's like, again, once you understand sales and marketing, it's not complicated. it's pretty basic, pretty simple. And I think really kind of scaling operations, building a team that can rely without you, also delegating and making sure that you're not really attached in every single process inside the clinic, inside the agency, is something that you've done. And I mean, you've also shown that to pretty much everybody out there through YouTube. And that's been something that really attracted me to specifically your program because I knew like, hey, I need something that's systems heavier, something that can, it's not just like mindset stuff. It's not just, oh, sales script and how to run ads. I need something that's how to run an actual team, how to build the system for that, how to use different project management boards to organize that, what automations are necessary, and like alone the literally alone the intro and onboarding module inside your program. I mean, I think you should 5x your prices, like literally, like genuinely. Now in the position I'm in, I would pay triple bare minimum, bare minimum.
It pisses me off that our price is so low.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
telling my sales team this shit. And then, so a couple of other things here before we wrap up. So the mastermind. We had the
yeah.
mastermind August 1st to 5th. I'm actually going to be having a video coming out shortly after this one for the people that are watching this now on how the mastermind went, things like that. I'm curious to know, because this is your first mastermind, how did you find that? What do you think the biggest takeaways were from that specifically? I know you mentioned Pasha's talk, which I think everybody was impacted by. But tell me more about that.
So, I mean, for me, it's been the biggest thing was up until this point, I was still kind of hanging out with my close friends at home. I'm still friends with them, like I know I'll always be. That's not going to change. But I wanted to kind of start connecting with other people out there that have the same kind of vision, ambition, and kind of go into the same direction. So that was the main reason I wanted to go to the mastermind. As you said, like I already kind of knew, hey, what do I need to do? I was just being a bitch about it to a certain degree, and I was just not in a rush. So again, time is a really big key takeaway I took from the mastermind. Again, the biggest thing is urgency. I just didn't have that much of an urgency, and I know it myself, and I knew it the day I went there on day one. Like, hey, I am too comfortable with where I'm at. Like I did my first 50, 60K month. I was like, wow, I feel like I've actually like done something, right? Like it's that mark where you actually are able to start to take home profits. And again, it makes you feel comfortable, but really having people around you that are doing up to 8, 10x of what you're doing, it just, bro, it just opens up your head. It opens up your mind. And I remember, I'm not going to say any names, but this one person, and they wanted to go from like 250K to 500K in a month, and I was setting myself. Oh, just another close came in. Good shit. Um, but but I
Oh,
remember
let's
I
fucking
remember.
go.
Yeah, good shit, bro. But I remember that every month I set myself, oh, again, like an extra 5K, 10K this month. And these guys, they want to do an extra 250,000 just in 1 month extra. And it just, bro, it just blew my mind. So again, I think for me, it was just so more getting that extra bit of accountability, that extra bit of urgency, and kind of, hey, time is limited. Like, why slow down? Why not just, again, skill, ask, go all in and go way harder. But then I think also like just brainstorming ideas, connecting with like-minded people in similar industries doing similar stuff. I think you gain a lot from it, even if maybe the ideas you're not going to implement straight away, but it kind of makes you think in different angles and directions, which I think is definitely also super valuable and has helped me to a certain degree kind of optimize what we've got right now.
And then to wrap up here, you just hit your first six-figure month. Where now? What's the goal in the next 3 months? Not just
Uh,
revenue-wise, personally, but financially as well.
So I want to focus a bit more on my health, my fitness. Like I've been very fit in the past as a kid, but ever since I got into business, I kind of slowed down. I'm not too consistent. I'm very consistent with work, but I'm not too consistent with gym and fitness, running, stuff like that. So I want to kind of focus a bit more on that personally. I want to not slow down, but still also start to, I guess, give back to my family more often, to my girlfriend. I
Awesome.
have a girlfriend, and she's been like through a lot of stuff too, where I mean, she sees me once a week, like for a couple, like where I say, hey, we're gonna go out for dinner or whatever. And other than that, like we stay at each other's house, but I work until 11:30. She's already in bed, and I just go to her, and then in the morning I get back to work, and she does her thing. So it's like she's she's not sacrificing a lot, but she's playing along, and I appreciate that, and that really helps. So I want to kind of give her something back. I want to give back a lot of stuff to my parents. But besides that, with the business, we're going to be taking things to, I don't know the 3 month goal, but we have a 4 month goal until end of the year. We want to hit 250K. And I think it's very possible, very achievable with the team we have, the structure we have. Right now, we're about to hire a second client success manager. Sales is dialed in. And then from that point on, it's just building a better team, training a better team. We had a lot of team members just join in, so I just want to make sure that, hey, quality control, we're actually doing what should be, like, is supposed to be kind of done. Um, a lot of, again, back-end systems that first kind of need fixing, and then from there we're just going to be scaling. We still have so much potential. Also, like, we're not even spending that much on ads, and I think we have a really good back-end kind of MRR recurring kind of bone in the business. So yeah, the goal is 250K a month, surpassing Pinpoint and everybody else, and then we'll look at the next steps.
Sick, bro. And you know what? I think you put yourself in a position now where I think you have to be selfish so you can be selfless. And now you're in a position where you can start giving to family, to friends, and you know it's not going to completely financially fuck you, which is a good position to be
Yeah,
in. But
100%.
yeah, that's pretty much everything, bro. I appreciate you hopping on, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, Cameron.